Sam, what's good? What do you think of your new neighbors?
Love your new neighbors, don't you, Sam? You like your new neighbors?
So you were under the radar, and then next thing you know, you're so on blast.
Yeah, it was crazy. And even the paparazzi guys would laugh. There'd be the same ones outside my house every day, you know? They weren't there for me, you know? My rule was, if your camera's down, I'll say what's up. Once the camera's in your face, we're no longer cool.
Hey, I'm Joy Bryant, and this is Across the Board. I'm in Venice Beach, California, heading to the only record shop here to meet Samantha Ronson, DJ, singer-songwriter, awesome woman.
I've had the meanest things said about me. I've had the nicest things said about me. I'm still me, so you know what? You can't win.
We're gonna see what she's all about. Little red, little red, little red.
What's up?
What's up?
Look what I found.
Oh, yeah.
My dad's first record.
Excellent. What year was this?
1977, the year I was born.
Cool, I'm psyched. I haven't been to a record store in a really long time. Do you go?
No, not really anymore, because everything's MP3. But I still go when I'm in different cities to see if I can find like some cool stuff. And I don't ever walk past a record store without going inside, because there's always that one record you couldn't find.
So wait, when you started DJing, were you spinning records or were you doing that digital thing? That wasn't out back then, was
No,
it?
this was pre-digital age. I was playing with records. It was actually pre-CDs even. Like, back then they had like 2 CD players you could press like play or whatever, pre-CDJs. But yeah, vinyl only. I played with vinyl only for 7 years.
How did you get into DJing? Was it something that...
It was never a plan at all. It was when I was dating, you know.
Someone.
Yeah, you remember. And he was the doorman at Moomba. And I would go there all the time, and then the DJ never showed up. And I just got in a car, so I had a bunch of CDs in my car. And so we ended up playing off those. And they never played hip hop in clubs in New York. It was either a hip hop club or rock and roll.
Right.
There was never a mix of the two. So I was like, well, let me come back tomorrow night and I'll bring some vinyl down. So of course I bring all like Tribe Called Quest, Main Source, like all this classic hip hop. And they kind of were like looking at me funny at first, because they're like, we don't play hip hop here. And I was like, you do now. And it worked. I wasn't like, ooh, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna change the game. Right. It was just like, I'm just gonna play the records that I wanna play in no particular order. Because I wasn't a DJ, so I wasn't like, oh, well, this has to come here. Nowadays, I don't think I would do that. Because I think I'd be too like caught in like the headspace of what's supposed to go when and where. Back then I was just like, oh, play this song now. I'll play this song now. So I'd be playing like the Eagles and then like Biggie and then like Cyndi Lauper.
But
it was no rhyme or reason. But yeah, it worked.
So what kind of stuff is inspiring you as a singer-songwriter? Like what?
I guess there's inspiration everywhere, you know? I mean, I live in Venice, you know, just walking around, seeing the differences and the culture clashes right around here, because you've got these like, it's like when we were living in New York in like 90s, early 2000s, when the whole city changed.
Yeah.
And it went from being a city where you're like tripping over like junkies to like tripping over a yuppie's briefcase.
Right.
And
it lost its edge.
Yeah, it so lost its edge, which is why I don't feel like a traitor living in LA.
Right.
Because I mean, if you hang out around here, it has that vibe of New York back in the day. Like, because there's like projects and there's like Whole Foods and like Cafe Gratitude or whatever. So that's the one great thing about this side of town, is that you have all this stuff kind of clashing together, because this used to be like the Wild West.
Yeah.
Like, and so you still have that. You still have, like, you pass a schoolyard that could have been like Boys in the Hood, you know, and you still have that feeling of that melting pot. There's certain times where words can be so helpful, and then other times where they just feel so empty.
Right.
And even sometimes, like, when I'm about to get into like a Twitter brawl with people, like yesterday, after all the crazy, after the school thing that happened yesterday, you know, when children get affected, everyone's emotions are so like huge, and everyone's so freaked out, and everyone has to say the things that they say. And I was just saying that people are always like, people kill people, not guns. I'm like, people kill people, okay. Take the gun out of somebody's hand, see how much damage they can do.
Right.
And like, people are saying, well, we have the right to bear arms. Like, yeah, totally. But you don't need an gun.
Assault rifle.
Yeah, you don't need a gun that can shoot 40 people without reloading. Do you know what I mean? And I understand, like, yes, we should defend ourselves, and, well, bad people are gonna get the guns anyway. Okay, but maybe not semi-automatic weapons. And like, let's make it a little more difficult.
Yeah.
But you look at a tragedy like yesterday's and you're like, well, maybe something that good could come from it and it won't happen again. Like, these children aren't gonna die in vain. Like, hopefully a bill will be passed for these kids that prevents, you know, even if it's just better security in schools.
Right.
Like, I know it's naive to think we're gonna pull the guns off the streets, but at least you can try.
Let's talk about your family, because you are one of how many?
10 children. But hold on. Okay, so my mother and my father had my twin sister Charlotte and I, and Mark. And we're like that little group.
Okay.
And then we moved to America when my parents split up, and with my stepdad, and they had 2 kids together.
Okay.
Annabelle and Alexander.
Okay.
And then my stepdad already had 2 kids, Roman and Christopher. And my father, who's my real dad, who still lives in London, had 3 children, David, Henrietta, and Josh. So there's 10 altogether. It's a clan.
So growing up in a musical family like yours, like, when did you know that was your path, or was it always, you know, apparent to you, like, oh, wow, I want to get into music?
I think I got into music basically just to like have something to talk to my brother, my father, and even my real dad. He had a music publishing company back in the day in England, and he was always obsessed with music. But yeah, I mean, as we got older, like, I just pretended to care more about music just so somebody would talk to me. Because Charlotte was like off with her friends, and I was never into fashion, and they were just like, oh, does she have to come too?
You're a twin. What is that like? My husband is an identical twin.
Really?
Yeah.
My sister's dating an identical twin.
But what do you think are like maybe 3 of the best things about being a twin, and 3 of the worst things about being a twin, or annoying things about being a twin?
We're lucky because we're not identical. So we never had to like try to figure out our own identities. The best thing about being a twin is having like a built-in best friend for life. Like, she knows me inside and out. I know, like, I don't even have to like tell her what's wrong, she'll figure it out.
Right.
I was such a loner when we were kids, so like I didn't need friends because she kindly would let me tag along. Charlotte's very social and she's really good at maintaining friendships, and I just like hide. And so I always have friends to hang out with. And I can be super social, but only if I feel super safe and Charlotte's around, basically, to like deflect.
She could do all the work, and then you come in like,
yeah,
okay,
and just be
sweet.
like, what's up?
Hey, everybody. That's cool.
I'll play the soundtrack for you guys.
Doesn't have to be anything bad about having a twin.
We get to work together a lot, which is awesome. I mean, how could there be anything really bad about having a twin? welcome.
Where the magic happens.
The palace, I like to call it. Where the tragic happens.
How long have you had the space?
This space I've had for 3 years, which is kind of the main motivation for moving to Venice, was because the schlep from Hollywood and back was just out of control.
So wait, tell me about the album, Chasing the Reds. Where'd that title come from?
It was one of the last songs we wrote for the record, and it came from, I think it came from one of these journals. I keep these like weird, you know, little journals. Tell me to follow, then you forget. I'm lost with the light as you race ahead. It literally came straight from like a weird poem that I've written. And I just like the idea of chasing the Reds because we spend so much time chasing after, or like we're on such a rush. You know, you're driving around LA and it's just like, I'm in such a rush to hit the next red light. Like, what's the point? But at the same time, it's chasing after any crush that maybe wasn't such a good idea in the first place.
Right.
Like when you have a crush on someone, you're like, I'm gonna, and then you're like, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
And I have another song on the record, which is Sometimes When You Win, You Lose, which is basically like the ending of Chasing the Reds, which is like, okay, you won, but you really lost at the end of the day.
Right.
So maybe you gotta, chase after somebody who is riding shotgun.
Well, it's crazy because like you're such a private person, like you're always in the cut, just laid back, and you get thrown into this very public, like,
Yeah.
you know, and you're the anti-fame whore, the anti-publicity whore. How did you navigate being such a public?
I just kept my head down.
How?
I mean, physically,
like-
I kept my head down.
No,
If you see any picture of me, it's always like, just like scowling and just like trying to just stay as much me as I could in all of that. And it's just like, the whole thing is so absurd to me. I've been DJing for 14 years. And I've had a steady career all the way through. And it was perfectly fine. You just fly under the radar.
So you were under the radar, and then next thing you know, you're
was on
so on
Front Street.
blast.
Yeah, it was crazy. I just had like just panic attacks all the time. I lost so much weight. I was just so like, had so much anxiety. It just made it whack. Like all the years that I would just go in and out of clothes. And even the paparazzi guys would laugh because they'd seen me for years outside the same club, smoking cigarettes, talking shit. And they'd be like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't you feel like a dickhead that you have to take pictures of me now? They're like, listen.
That's what they want.
And my whole deal with all those dudes, because they'd be the same ones outside my house every day, you know? They weren't there for me, you know? And my rule was, if your camera's down, I'll say what's up. Once the camera's in your face, we're no longer cool. But like, I'll be walking with my brother and he's just won like 3 Grammys and you're asking me dumb questions about dumb stuff. I'm like, whatever. It's so mortifying. Like when I'm with my dad and we're leaving like a restaurant and it's just like,
this is my dad.
he sold over 30 million records, like wrote some of the biggest songs of all time, and you wanna ask me some inane question about some inane like
about
pop culture thing that's happening.
Working with your brother, working with your dad, what's the dynamic when you guys are in the studio? Is it hard to work with your brother? It's hard. What is that like? Are you more just punching each other?
No, because you fully revert back to like childhood familial roles. Mark, we can get competitive sometimes, but now I finally hit a stride where like he lets me do me. But when we first worked together, when I was making the Rockefeller record, he made me cry. The vocal booth, like, I mean, brutal. And Skyscrapers on the record was originally first time we wrote it with Santi, White Santi Gold, was for my Rockefeller record. Then we revisited it for Mark's record collection record, never finished it. Then we finally finished it for mine, because Mark's like, I have to have a cut on your record. And so Mark came, he was only here for the day, we worked a bit, and then he was like, I trust you, you can finish it. Which I was like, how far we've come. Because when we first started writing that song, I wasn't even allowed in the room.
Right. Now
And then
you're
I was
involved.
maybe allowed to add some lyrical ideas. And then the second time around, I was maybe allowed to add a couple things, but he made me cry in the booth, which is actually, we recorded that for his record, which is where Summer of Sam came from, was Alex Greenwald, who, from Pen and Planet, who actually co-wrote Chasing the Reds with me and Captain Jack and stuff. He'd come to visit me at the studio because he's good friends with Mark. And he came, and I was like, please bring a bottle of wine. Because I was like crying in the studio, like in the vocal booth, like, I'm not Amy Winehouse. I don't have that voice. Stop it. First time it was, I'm not Nika Costa. Second time was, I'm not Amy Winehouse.
Yes.
And the third time was on me.
Right.
But, so I got so drunk in the studio, and then we went and did karaoke on St. Mark's Place, and was doing sake shots. I was so wasted that I had to ask the security guard at the hotel the next night how I got home. And that's what Summer of Sam is about.
So you're a twin. You're the sister of a successful DJ, producer, daughter of a successful musician, and stepdaughter, and then the daughter of a successful businessman, and your mom's a writer. Like, how did you become you? How did you step out of the shadows and just emerge you? How did you become Samantha and own that?
I mean, I still don't own it, but I go to therapy.
You own it, bitch. You own it.
I think as you get older, number one, you just stop giving a shit. Like, I still care what my friends think of my family, and I love them, but I definitely stopped worrying about what other people's perspective were. And I think the one good thing that came from being thrown on Front Street in such a crazy way, when my life went from being like, to like, I think was like, I've been insulted by an entire globe of people. Like, I've had the meanest things said about me. I've had the nicest things said about me. I'm still me, so you know what? You can't win. You will never get everyone to like you or agree. So all I can do is
Not play that game.
Right, all I can do is know that whatever I'm doing is mine. So when I was living in LA and I wasn't Charlotte's sister or Mark's sister or my stepfather's daughter, like, it was just me. It was just me here, just doing that, and Mark was in London doing his thing, and it was just kind of like, I think I just got old enough to just not give a fuck. Yeah. Like, cool, you wanna say shit, you wanna call me ugly, you wanna call me this, you wanna call me, cool, you're not the first person to say it, so.
So here's where you are. Where do you want to be? Where do you see your life?
To be honest, it's like so corny. What I really want to do is I want to make enough money to retire and go back to school and become a teacher.
What do you want to teach?
I would like to teach creative writing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'd like to at least get my degree so when I have kids, I can make them go to college. Because my parents didn't go to college, so what are they gonna say to me?
Right.
That's what I wanna do. And write, I'd like to write songs for other people and never have to leave my house. And I'd love to make a record with my brother one day. When have like no more tears.
Well, you can't break me, man.
Yes,
you will
exactly.
not break me, man.
We'll be like 90 and he'll be 92 and I'll be like, I got this.
I think you're there.
No, I'm just saying, like, he and I mean, he's like, I love my brother. He's you know, I don't want to exclude any siblings. I love all my siblings. But I have a lot of fun with him because we share so many of the same interests. So it would be fun to get in a room and just write a record with him. I don't know.
It's gonna be fire.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
It's gonna be fire.
Or just like total like weird, random, out there stuff. Either way, we'll both be proud of it.
Nice. What do you say I get my DJ
Yes.
DJ lessons going right now? I want to get on the wheels of steel.
Let's teach you. Let's teach
Trying to
you.
get on the wheels of steel. I need some headphones. Can I take these headphones right here?
Yes, you may.
So good. Oh, when this comes on the club, I'm like, this is my face. I'm like, is that?
But it's the same beat as, hold on.
Oh, and this song is the sample from that song.
What's this?
Hey, I'm Joy Bryant from Across the Board, and you just watched an episode with me and Samantha Ronson skateboarding. I'm in her studio. So if you like the show, be sure to subscribe so you can watch our next episode.
Pharrell Williams here.
Hi, I'm Joy Bryant,
I'm Eric Ripper,
I'm Tom Colicchio.
I'm Dr. Frank Lipman.
the host of On the Table.
the host of Across the Board.
Host of RSRV Talk.
Host of Hooked Up.
Host of the show, Be Well Week, Be Well Weekend, on the Reserve channel.
It's only on Reserve.
Did you know that you can follow my show on social media sites like Facebook?
Follow us on Twitter.
If you're a fan of my show, hit the like button.
All of the above.
Share me with your friends.
Treat yourself. Check out a new episode of my show, Hooked Up.
And if you want to leave comments, feedbacks, ideas, whatever, love to hear from you. Leave a comment.
And if you don't want to miss the show, be sure to subscribe.
The one that's like down here, or is it here? Somewhere down here.
Thanks for watching the Reserve channel.
Only on YouTube. Throw caution to the wind and ask yourself what rules.